Good evening, everybody. How are we this evening? Are we all right? It is 7:30. It is the 16th of March, I think. Yes. Is it 16th? Yeah, I think it's the 16th. I haven't got my glasses on, so I can't see I can't see the date on my computer. But it is me, Annie Bennett. I am here to talk to you this Wednesday evening in my usual Wednesday waffle that I do every week. So if you're new to the group, if you're new to the Home Baking Business Community UK, welcome. It's lovely to have you here. Or you might be watching on my Annie Bennett Facebook page, in which case welcome from there as well. And I'm also coming to my my society, my membership, the Home Baking Professional Society. So hello if you're in there. I hope you're all well too. If you are on, there's some people here, hooray! Do say hello. I do like it when people say hello and talk to me. It is very, fills my heart with joy to sound a bit Disney about it. It fills my heart with joy when I see people are on and watching me and listening to my inane wafflings. So do say hello. It would be lovely to talk to you. And do ask, hi, Alex. Hello, my lovely. How are you? Are you all right? Are you well? I hope you are. I do hope you are. So this evening, I'm going to be talking about, sort of following on from last week, really, where I talked about, income streams and things like that. So I'm going to be talking about that again because it's part of my thing in this group is to try and help people or try and sort of connect people with ways of, building a business, growing your business. Okay, so I'm not just about the baking, although of course that is one of my main things, my wedding cakes. But I'm also very much into, ways to streamline your business, ways to really get your business going. And I was sort of thinking, as I was writing my blog post, which regular viewers will know that there's a blog post to go with this, which will be posted into the link will be posted into the group at about 8 o'clock. So if you're a reader rather than a listener, that is for you. So as I was writing that today, I was thinking back to when I started up my business, which was in 2014, I believe, if my memory serves. My memory around that time is quite hazy for one reason or another, but I'm fairly sure it's 2014 I set up, which is actually 8 years ago now, isn't it? Gosh. But it wasn't until sort of 2 years ago when lockdown happened, which was almost exactly now, wasn't it? It was the end of about the 20th of March, wasn't it, in 2020? It's about 2 years ago. It wasn't till then, and since then, that I've really got to grips with, how to run a business, and an online business as well as a physical business. Because when I first started my wedding cake business or my baking business in 2014, I look back now and I think, oh my Lord, what was I doing? I didn't have a clue. I really didn't have a clue. I was starting up a business. No one in my family owned or ran a business. Everyone in my parents were both teachers, which is probably why I ended up as a teacher as well, because I sort of knew about it. My brothers went off and did various other things very successfully. But none of my family ran a business, so I had no idea about, how to do that. So when I first set up in 2014, my initial thought was, I'll do cupcakes, because at that point, that was sort of the cupcake surge. Everyone was doing cupcakes at that point, and they were really, really popular. So I thought, right, I'll do cupcakes. Now, of course, what I was thinking was, how many cupcakes can I make? How do I sell them? So it was really just a case of making something and then selling it. making something and then selling, which of course is the basis of any business, isn't it? Of course it is. But when I started up Annie Bennett Business 2 years ago and started this group, I joined up with lots of different business groups and all sorts of things, and did training and all sorts. And my eyes were opened to the world of creating different types of income from your business. And in fact, not even just from your business, creating income from things you know how to do, however small they might seem. And of course, what I came to realize was that successful businesses don't just do one thing. They have lots and lots of different, ways that they bring in money to their business. So, things like Marks and Spencer's, the big ones, yes, they sell clothes, but they also, I think they do insurance, and they do travel things, and they do all sorts of different things. I mean, look at Richard Branson. He started off with a record company, and now he does travel. There was Virgin Brides at one point. There were all sorts of different things. Virgin Wines he does as well. So there are all sorts of different things that can bring in income to your business. And there are different ways that you can bring it in. So the income streams that I have, which I'd sort of told you about last week, my books, I think I've actually got 13 up there now. Not all of which I actively sell, because they're books for different reasons. If I want a book for something, I can sort of publish it on Amazon and then buy a copy for myself. And I just pay a couple of pounds for that. It's really, really good. Once you know how to self-publish on Amazon, brilliant. You can do all sorts. But actually, that stream of income I started, in fact, it was a year ago tomorrow. I published my handbook. Where is it? There it is. I showed you this last week. So I published this a year ago tomorrow. Tomorrow is its anniversary. And that, along with all the other books, so my food hygiene book is quite popular. A lot of you have got that one, which is brilliant. So thank you for buying that. That one's really my best-selling one. But I've got, a few others up there as well. And in a year, those books have now brought me in, I think it's £5,100, which of course on its own wouldn't be enough, but it's just one of my income streams. Once I wrote this book, which actually, because I'd had a lot of it was from various blogs I'd written, it actually took me about a week of, few hours each day in a week to actually get it written and to get it sorted out. And the other books that I've got, if I put all the hours together that I actually spent writing them and putting them together, if I put all those hours together, it's probably about 2 weeks, something like that. And of course, now that they're out there and published, I don't have to do anything else now. That's money that can come in when I'm doing my wedding cakes, or when I'm on holiday, or when I'm ill, or whatever. So that money keeps coming in, which of course is very useful. It's always good to have that. And the other things that I've set up, I've got, as some of you know, because quite a lot of you have bought them, my courses that I've set up that are on my website. So, my little course on how to register and going through the registration form, kitchen inspections. A lot of you have bought that one. That's quite a popular one. A lot of you have bought that one. So I go through the Safer Food, Better Business pack, and I talk about inspections and, so, and some of my courses I've actually pre-recorded and uploaded onto the website. So once someone buys them, I don't actually have to do anything else. It's just there, and they access it. Occasionally I'll get, a message or an email with a question, which is absolutely fine. I don't have a problem with that at all. But again, that's just funds that come in now. Okay. And then the other streams that I have, my society, my lovely society, who pay monthly to be in the society. And I organise the training for that, and sometimes I do the training myself. So of course that takes time. But it's money that can still be coming in while I'm making wedding cakes. So it's sort of doubled up. It's sort of money that's coming in the background while I'm doing something else, if you like. And then there's my subscription box, which is just starting up, which probably in a month takes about 2 days out of a month, with the ordering things, and then the actual training, and then the boxing things up and sending them. So that's about 2 days sort of spread out over the month. But out of those 2 days, again, that's still money that's coming in. It's not a case of I have to do something and then I get the money for it, like with the wedding cakes, So to have these different ways that money can come in is a really good business model. And I was thinking about, the different things that you can do in your business. So like me, could you set up a course showing others how to make something that you know how to make? Or showing someone how, showing people how to do something that you do. It might be baking related, it might not. Can you write an e-guide or an e-book or a book? Could be, could be your recipes. It could be, how to do floral cupcakes, cupcake bouquets, something like that. Like me, you could create a membership for people that you can help or guide with things, or you could create a subscription box. That takes a little bit more work, the subscription box, but my goodness me, I love it. I absolutely love my subscription box. And of course, it doesn't have to be baking related. I listed on my blog some of the things that I've considered and I might well do. I love my cats. Some of you might know I love my cats. I love all things catty. So I've got in the back of my mind some sort of subscription box, perhaps either for cat lovers or for cats, something, to do with that. I know a bit about opera. I sing opera. I know about operas. I've sung in them. So I could do something to do with that. I could write a guide to performance, something like that, because I know about that. I also know a bit about sewing and needlework. I used to make my costumes for my stage performances. So I could share my knowledge about that. And knitting. I've knitted since I was 5. I'm a real dab hand at me knitting. And it's all these things that we know how to do that perhaps we take for granted. And perhaps within our family might not even be exceptional. So, all my family knitted. So, it was neither here nor there that I did as well, though, of course, I loved it. But it might be that you've got friends or colleagues that say, oh, gosh, how do you do that? Or can you just show me how to do this? Or I need some help with this, something that you know about. And you know what? I was having a look on Amazon earlier, because if you start delving into Amazon, into the books section of Amazon, it's amazing what you can find. I'm often on the home-based business page because that's where my books are. So I just keep a check on where they are in the charts. And my hygiene book is often in the top 50 of that, which is rather lovely. But some of the other books in that section, There's one on how to make money. What was it? Raising pigs. A book about pigs. There's a book about foraging for mushrooms. So someone obviously is an expert or knows how to look for mushrooms. There's one about what was it? Truck driving or something. So, you look at these things and you think, oh my goodness me, they seem, to some of us, they might seem really mundane, and who'd want a book about that? But then, of course, when you think about it, there will be people that want to know about raising pigs. There will be people that want to know about looking for mushrooms and where to find them and safe ones and all that. So it's any kind of little bit of knowledge that you have could potentially bring in some money. When I first went on my sort of business journey, other than my cakes, 2 years ago when lockdown started, and I did Lisa Johnson's challenge that I've been banging on about for about a week or so. I did actually consider looking at other ways of getting income as well. So of course I had my wedding cakes, but I thought, oh, what else do I know? Yeah, I know about knitting, and I know about sewing, and I know about this and that and the other. I know about education, because obviously I was a primary teacher for 30 years. So could I help other primary teachers do something? Do you know what? I can put on a nativity play. I used to do them in one of the schools I was in with about 100 children. And I used to write it. I used to do the music for it. I used to do the sets for it. I used to, costumes. And those that I didn't physically have time for, I'd, delegate. So I know all about that. So I could easily write a book about, how to put on a children's nativity play. But it does bring back PTSD memories. So perhaps I wouldn't. So there are all sorts of things that you can do. So if you are, you've got to the point in your business where you're thinking, actually, I'm working so many hours here. Being up till 2 a.m. completing your treat boxes or finishing that cake or whatever. It doesn't have to be always like that. Open your mind to, the business model of spending a day or so setting something up and then allowing it to bring in money when you go off and do something else. It's a brilliant thing to have. And of course, the reason that I'm talking about this I've been talking it this week, last week and this week, is that the challenge that I first did that really opened my eyes to the world of possibilities, it's happening next week. It's Lisa Johnson's. You might have heard me talking about her. She's my business mentor. She's a lovely lady. And she's helped so many people do what I do. So if it hadn't been for her, I'd still be just doing wedding cakes 24/7. And there'd be no home baking business community. There'd be no professional society. There'd be no books. There'd be, nothing of that. It was all because of her that, all that has happened. Because she gave me the ideas and the know-how to actually set it all up. And the challenge is happening next week. So I'm going to do the challenge again next week, because I might have another. I think last time I did it was when I came up with the subscription box, my Sugar Bloom box. So I shall be intrigued as to what comes out of it for me next week. So watch this space. You never know. It might be bacon related. It might not. It might be something to do with cats. It might be something to do with opera. It might be something, who knows what it might be. But yeah, I'm just sort of really, really passionate about spreading the word about it, because it's just been a lifesaver for me. And that thing about when something's so good, you really want to tell other people about it because you want them to have it too. When I see people in their businesses like I was when I first started, I want to say, oh, it doesn't have to be just like that. If you branch out and do this as well, you'll have a much more successful business. It will really it'll really help to grow. You've signed up to do it. Hooray, hooray. You won't regret it. Honestly, it's just the most eye-opening thing. And of course, I think there are about 8,000 people signed up to it now. It's just amazing. Lisa has this sort of magic effect on people. But of course, it's not just Lisa's teaching, but all the connections that you make as well doing the challenge, you know, in the group that she sets up. There's all sorts of people doing all sorts of things in there, and you can learn so much. I'm a bit of a sponge when it comes to learning. I love learning. So in the business networks that I'm in and all the other groups that I'm in, I just soak up everything that's being talked about, and I'll ask questions and how did you do that? You know, because, you know, I want to get better at what I do as well. And I want my business to, you know, go from strength to strength as well. So, yeah, so that's what we are on about this evening. So have a think about, you know, what your, you know, what you can teach people. You can definitely teach people about baking. There's no question about that. You've all got skills that you can do that. But there might be something else that's in there that you know about. Lisa often talks about the thing that sort of started her off, however many years ago it was, with the passive income thing, was she wanted to go to Disneyland with her 2 boys. She's got twin boys. And she found on Amazon a guide to how to have a holiday in Disneyland. You know, all the little tricks and hacks that, if you know about, makes your holiday so much better. And someone had written that because they'd been to Disneyland about 4 or 5 times and realized that if they wrote it all down, people would buy it. And they did. They do. It's incredible, you know. So it's that kind of thing, you know, things that you know that other people want to know. Incredible stuff. So there we are. I will leave it there for now. Next week, what am I talking about next week? Oh yes, I'm going to do a little bit of sort of confidence building. Knowing your worth is next week. So talking about, you know, I'll be talking about things like boundaries with customers and pricing, your worth, you know, making sure that you're seeing yourself as the business owner that you are. That's what I'll be talking about next week. All right. And heads up, in April, I shall be having a week of sessions. I'm just sorting out the schedule for it now. I've got people coming in. So people in my society, in the Home Baking Professional Society, you're going to have access to all of it and all the replays and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to allow people not in the society to come in and have a look just for that week and see what we're all about. So watch this space and watch your email space for news on that, because I'm going to be finalizing this week and getting news of that to you next week. So I'm really very excited about that. All right. I will leave it there. Look out in the group for the link to my blog post that goes with this, and there are various links on that as well. So in the meantime, have a lovely week. Whatever it is you're doing. I've got my first wedding cake of the year this weekend, which is rather nice. Looking forward to that. It's a rather unusual one because the lady is obviously an origami expert, and she sent me loads of origami things to put on her cake. Incredible. It's going to look amazing. Anyway, so have a lovely weekend. Have a lovely rest of your week. And I will see you next week. All right. Have a good week. Bye-bye.